Friends, Midland has been a capital of industry, but even our giant that was our steel plant is a shadow of what it once was. Still, it produces some of the finest products in the world. And after a shrinking economy and enrollment forced our high school to close, as Mr. Tanner mentioned earlier, and they had to seek a tuition agreement with our neighbors, even those across the border, across the state line. Today, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, education is Midland's #1 industry. It has always been a top priority. Now it is our #1 industry. I don't have to tell you that today Midland is home to several learning-based entities, including the 11,000-student Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School, based right here. Lincoln Park has an enrollment of around 500. Who would have thought this would have happened? Who? Only one guy, founder of the educational empire that calls Midland its home. He represents both sports programs that we're here to celebrate tonight. That's true. The Midland Leopards, he was our last football coach at our high school, and the Lincoln Park Leopards, as the person who said, as long as there is a high school in Midland, there will be basketball played in this building. I will introduce him by saying thank you, because I personally don't believe that we have said thank you enough for his vision, his direction, and his friendship, Dr. Nick Trombetta. Good evening and congratulations to the inductees. I want to pay special attention at this time to the three coaches that are here from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Coach Akasi, Coach Kuzma, and Coach Lloyd. Thank you, gentlemen, for all three being here. Thank you. I want to tell you just two things. I guess my pleasure has been to bridge the past with the present and plan for the future. And I can't tell you enough how proud I am to be part of the Midland family, how proud I am to celebrate our history and our heritage. I think it is something that we have to preserve, protect, and continue to celebrate for years and years and years. It is the fabric of the community. And although we have all these new buildings going up and all the great things that Chris just said, I think it's the fabric of the community that drives the engine for success to the future. So I really want to thank the alumni. I also want to thank all the Midland folk and Midland graduates that support the Lincoln Park team throughout the season. I love seeing the great players and not so great players that are sitting in the audience that support the current team. I will tell you that today we had another wonderful Midland experience with the Lincoln Park Performing Arts Center. And we had one of our musicals that was the sixth day it had been sold out, which isn't a surprise. It's something that happens quite often, and it's not unusual for us to have folks from all around come. But today, one of our inductees, Georgie Boy's cousin from East Local, Alonzo, was there. And Alonzo Spencer said that George was ahead of his time. And what made him so good, and I think it speaks of all the inductees, is that he never realized or cared about how great he was at the time he was playing. I think that's a lesson to the current team. You don't think about how great you are until it's time to think back and to celebrate what you have accomplished. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. The lessons that you can learn from teams that have done it to a team that has to work for the success yet to come. I am very, very proud that you're here. Very happy that I know the people that are all the recipients tonight, and proud to have been your superintendent, and proud of the work that's being done here. But I will tell you, nothing makes me happier. Nothing makes me happier when I hear the stories of your youth. Nothing makes me happier when I hear the stories of your successes. So God bless you, and God bless Midland. Thank you. again, thank you, Dr. Trombetta, for all that you do. Midland Sports Hall of Fame was founded as a lead-in prior to Midland's centennial celebration. The year that we celebrated our 100th anniversary was 2006, and the first class was inducted 1 year prior in 2005. They consisted of that class Dave Alston, one of the all-time great players here locally, Luke Blumack, and wonderful Tubby Petrosky, that everybody remembers so vividly. In 2006, our inductees included Dr. Frank Benedict, Stevo Turkovic, and Tony Brzella. 3 of our all-time great coaches were inducted in 2007, and I will ask them to stand and be recognized. The coach of the fabled 1965 BIAA state champions, the Midland Leopards, the greatest team in the history of Pennsylvania, Coach Hank Kuzma is here with us tonight. Coach, great to see you. The head coach of all those great teams in the 1970s, 4 more state championships at the BIAA level, 71, 73, 74, and 76. Coach Ed Okowski is here. Tonight we also remember John Petzl, who was a great teacher and football coach here at Midland as well. In 2008, 4 Leopard greats entered the Hall of Fame. Tony Hooks Bernardi, one of the great players and great coaches at the high school level and college level, is here with us tonight. Hooks, would you please stand? George Green, who we lost earlier this year, as a matter of fact, one of the most beautiful memorial services I've ever attended, occurred right here on this floor. Catherine is here tonight. Catherine, thank you for being here tonight. We all think about George. Great quarterback of Midland at the University of Pittsburgh, Ivan Tonsik, was inducted that year, as was one of the all-time greats here at Midland, one of the toughest guys you'll ever meet on a football field. Penn State University proud Matt Yanisich, who is here with us tonight. Matt, thank you for being here. Our 5th class, inducted in 2009, featured quarterback Paul Farnan, who played at St. Vincent and was a great coach in Eastern Pennsylvania. Herb Lake, one of the all-time great rebounders. As a matter of fact, he still holds records here that will never be broken at Midland. Norm Van Leer, the Cincinnati Royals and the Chicago Bulls, was inducted posthumously that year. And we had our first brother act, Joe Ukika, and a man who is here tonight, Stan Ukika, fabled as possibly the first player in the history of Beaver County basketball to actually dunk in a game. 4 championships in 4 years when he was in college in Geneva. Stan Ukika here with us. Last year, entering the Hall of Fame were Coach Dick Black of the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils, Westminster Titan in his day, of course, great opening number. Dick Black won the basketball championship in 1961, so he is celebrating his 50th anniversary of that title here this year. He also won the WPIO Golf Championship as a coach of Mount Lebanon High School. Simmy Hill, perhaps the greatest player in the history of Pennsylvania schoolboy basketball. Larry Slappy, who I'll have some news about coming up a little bit later in the evening, and strongman Joe Tontai. They were all inducted last year as we were here on this floor. And Chuck Gomez, you weren't here when we made the initial introductions. Chuck Gomez, one of his daughters was having a health problem, and Chuck got here a little bit late tonight, but Chuck Gomez is getting inducted here this evening tonight. We want him to stand and be recognized as well. We'll hear from Chuck a little bit later. Right now it's time to introduce you to our first inductee. And Ronald, if you'll come up, please, we would appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to introduce you to George Allen from the class of 1951. George, let's hear it. Georgie boy Allen, ladies and gentlemen. basketball, he was a fluid ball handler and scorer who helped lead his squad to the Section 9 title and the WPIL semifinals with a 21-4 slate. Despite all of his talents, Mr. Allen wasn't recruited to play college basketball or football because of racism, limited the number of opportunities for many black athletes in his day. George remained in Midland, where he worked, helped his family, and became an important and active member of his community. And with me here at the podium is his niece, Renelle, who will speak on behalf of Georgie Boyle.
Thank you, Mr. Shovlin and the committee. On behalf of my uncle, I'd just like to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And one thing someone always told me, time moves on and leaves no man behind. Unfortunately, my uncle has been very sick, but he also has a good spirit and a good mind. And when I tried to tell him what was going on with him and being recognized into the Hall of Fame, he said, I don't know why I didn't do anything. But those of you that know George has always been a friend. He's been a man full of laughter and jokes. And he also was the taxi cab for Midland people. So he's always had a giving and loving heart. And with great pride and humility, we, from the bottom of our heart and the Allen family, want to thank you so much for giving him his flowers while he can still smell them. Thank you.
Georgie Boyle. Ladies and gentlemen, not only is the Hall of Fame presenting all of our inductees with plaques, it is a remembrance of tonight's affair, but State Senator Elder Vogel has prepared citations of official recognition for all 5 of our inductees here tonight, and each one of them was written especially personally for each one of our inductees. So, Mr. Allen, we're going to give you that as well tonight. Congratulations, Georgie Boyle.